The skills of planning requires sort of the ability to be able to read and understand what is happening at the present, to connect that to the different forces that have gotten us here from the past. And this could be geopolitical, social, economic forces. And then to be able to sort of imagine a different future, if it's a different future, and then guide the different actors to achieve that future. So it's a combined set of skills that then require sort of the technical capacity to understand what to do and how to toggle which levers to achieve which desired end goal, but also the ability to communicate this desired end goal to different players. And that becomes very interesting, because then the different skills we need as planners is the ability to be able to communicate to different actors, whether it's political actors, whether it's economic players in the financial sector and the real estate sector that builds the cities, but also then the citizens and the residents that live in this city that need to understand what is happening and where we are going as residents and as citizens of a space. So I think some of the technical skills of being able to communicate, especially sort of so most of the planning, education, and training is on sort of being able to theoretically understand and conceptualize what is happening and how we've gotten here, and be able to present different scenarios of where we can go in future. So explore different pathways of development in future. And how do you communicate this to different players? So I see skills, for example, such as GIS, data analytics, technical proficiency, to be able to present different scenarios to different audiences, coming in more and more powerfully, but also being encouraged and supported by the developments that are happening in technology. So we've been seeing different types of tools that allow planners to communicate. Not that they were not there in the past, but more and more you can be able to communicate with different types of audiences from the same sort of platforms or portals. And these are really providing, enhancing what planners can and cannot do to drive the different futures that we are hoping for. So I was pointing to, for example, being able to visualization, whether it's to use different types of data to project trends, but also not just to understand what you're doing, but also to speak to the different audiences and sort of connect them to the different types of future we are achieving. Because such urban developments would only be achieved by pulling all these actors together to drive in the same direction. And previously, or not necessarily previously, but even in the present, we tend to see cities that either work for a very small select number of people, but not necessarily for all. So planning also has to contend with the nature in which urban development happens, that sometimes tends to not be inclusive. So it's not necessarily inclusive growth, and planners don't just have them. And when I speak of planners, I'm really being general, but all I'm trying to point to is that planning has to mediate between sometimes conflicting or contradictory expectations of people. And that becomes a very complex space that, unfortunately, it's how do you mediate the forces or the different needs of people that sometimes can actually be pulling in different directions.